Go ahead.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming to our first ever charter school Santa Ana Candidate Forum for City Council and the mayoral candidacy as well. My name is Jason Watts. I'm the Executive Director for Scholarship Prep. We have two schools in Santa Ana. Our principal is actually walking down the red carpet there, Denise Alate. We've got plenty of pizza and water in the back. This is a unique opportunity, obviously, to hear from our local candidates, but also because this is being live streamed on YouTube to all three schools that are represented here tonight. Not only do we have Scholarship Prep, we also have Ednovate and Vista. I'll have their representatives come up in just a minute. So again, this is being live streamed on YouTube. It's also being recorded. So this will then be provided to all of the families at all three schools. So they have an opportunity, if they could not come this evening, to hear what their candidates for local office have to say. With that now being said, I'm going to hand over to our other charter school representatives. We've got Katie Hart, COO of Ednovate Charter Schools.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Katie Hart. Thank you for the introduction, Jason. It's great to be here this evening. Thank you to Scholarship and the whole team for hosting this evening. Thank you to our partners at Scholarship and Vista. This is a really exciting forum. Thank you to the candidates for being here with us this evening. And thank you from Ednovate to all the families this evening, in particular our Legacy College Prep families who are joining us either in person or online. Well, we know that our families are our most important and trusted partners in this work, and we're really excited for this opportunity for everyone to hear directly from our candidates so that each and every one of you can make an informed decision as you head to the polls in just a couple of weeks. So thank you very much for this opportunity, and I will hand it off to Colin.
Thank you, Katie. My name is Colin Felch. I'm the Assistant Superintendent of Vista Charter Public Schools. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you this evening in person and online. And again, thank you to the candidates for being here. I do want to say, as charter schools, we cannot and do not endorse any one candidate over another, but we do really encourage you all to get out and vote. And it is really, really important, not just in this election, but every single election, to get out and vote and really be informed on what's going on in this beautiful city. Before we do move on and get started, I do want to share and allow, we do have one distinguished guest here. The Orange County Board of Education member, George Valdez, is here. And he actually represents the Santa Ana area. So George, if you want to come up here and share a few words, it's up to you. But please, let's give George a round of applause.
Good evening, everyone. As Colin mentioned, I am the Orange County Board of Ed trustee for Area 1. So this is the area that I represent. So what's going on here tonight is very important to me. I represent 100,000 students in Orange County. I take that representation very seriously. It is the position of the Board of Ed that we like to open up the opportunities for charter schools. I'd love to hear what the candidates have to say about that. And thank you for inviting me tonight. And I hope we have a good forum tonight. Thank you.
All right, and thank you. And we as the moderators will take a seat.
Might be easier for me to do it this way. So I'm going to go through the forum format so that all the candidates are clear in the audience as well. And before I get started, I want to remind the audience, if you require Spanish translation, we have headsets and the tools necessary outside. You can get those and they will be translated as we speak. So each candidate will have up to 5 minutes total. So total to answer each of 3 questions provided in advance to all the candidates, also in front of them. So again, there's 3 questions total, not 5 minutes per, 5 minutes total. Questions will hopefully also be on the screen, but again, the candidates have those in front of them. I will read all the questions before we get started for the audience. Candidates will be notified when 2 minutes remain, when 1 minute remains, and when time has expired. If the candidate continues to speak, we have security. But again, we just want to say thank you to all the candidates tonight, because as has already been said, this is a very important opportunity for all the families and community members within Santa Ana.
You've got, probably most people can get it, but Valerie Amescua's nameplates in front of Jose. For the viewers at home that may be confused.
Thank you. So we also, as a point of order, wanted to identify the candidates and what they're running for. So to my right, to the audience's right, are our mayoral candidates, Jesse Nestor, Sal Tinajero, and Jose Solorio. And to the left are our city council candidates. We have Phil Becerra. We have Nalita, sorry, I couldn't find the box on my paper, Mendoza, and David Penaloza. Here are the questions our candidates have been provided. Number one, please introduce yourself and share why you are running for mayor or city council. Question number two, Legacy, Scholarship Prep, and Vista are fortunate to have new, beautiful facilities in Santa Ana. If elected as mayor or a city council member, what would you do to ensure that charter schools in Santa Ana continue to have the opportunities to serve students in these types of facilities, or are able to make vital improvements to existing facilities? And finally, question number three. There are 14 charter schools serving over 8,000 students in grades TK through 12 in Santa Ana. They have been and continue to be a growing part of the public school ecosystem for students and families in the region. If elected as mayor or city council member, how will you support families in their ability to have continued access to school choice options? With that, we will get started. We are actually going to start from our left. We're going to go with our city council members and proceed to the right. Is our timer ready? Mr. Becerra, you may begin. Yes.
Good evening. Good evening, everybody. I'm Santa Ana's Mayor Pro Tem Phil Becerra. I'm very proud to serve the residents of not only all of Santa Ana, but specifically Ward 4 down on the south side. My wife and I, Wendy, and our crazy Labradoodle, Stanley Pup, we're down near Barron MacArthur in the South Coast Shores neighborhood. I've had the opportunity to serve our city for the last 3 years on the city council. Prior to that, I served our city for over 5.5 years as a planning commissioner. And so if you guys will indulge me, I wanted to read a couple of the accomplishments that I've been able to have in my 3 years on the council. I'm very proud of the fact that we actually have increased the number of police officers that are patrolling our streets. Just this last budget cycle, we were able to put forward 8 new funded officers. We've increased funding for our fire stations. Prior to my arrival on the council, we did not have a dedicated revenue stream for sidewalks, which I think many of us would agree is a very fundamental service for cities. So we have about $1 million now dedicated annually for sidewalk repair and construction. The Park Host Program, which is an innovative way to have eyes on our parks. Our first pilot program is very fortunate to say is in my ward over at Thornton Park. And we've initiated a study to look at parking policy in our city. Many of us know how frustrating parking permits and the whole process can be, and how sometimes you have to go block by block to actually get parking permits in your neighborhood. So For me, those are some of the accomplishments that I'm very proud of. I will continue to advocate for public safety. My opponent and some of our opponents up here have not been willing to commit to adding more police officers. And while we have great response times for calls for service for emergencies, we shouldn't have to have an emergency to expect a reasonable response time from our PD. So I believe that we need to add more officers. We do. And when it comes to the homeless, we need to take stronger actions. We've initiated litigation against those that have been dumping homeless in our town, but there's more to do. And that's why I'm running for re-election, because I believe that myself, along with my colleagues, we can actually move the needle and get some good things done and continue the progress that we've already done. And in relation to the charter schools, I just want to say, first of all, thank you for hosting this forum. And as far as to how we can continue to work with the charter schools and enable you guys, I think really we're not here to talk about curriculum, at least those of us that are here on the city council. What we need to do is empower the charter schools to improve your facilities and make sure, like any other business, any other institution, that you're able to come to City Hall, be able to apply for the permits that you need to be able to have a timely response and a professional and courteous experience. Unfortunately, that's not always the case. And I'm going to continue to advocate for more plan checkers and more staff to make sure that when you guys are actually trying to improve your facilities, and I've visited some of your facilities and they're great, but you've also shared with me some of the horror stories of how long it took you to get your permits and some of the issues that you faced. And so I think that's just not something that we should have in our city. We should be able to expect, again, a timely response and a courteous and professional response. So I will commit to continuing to push for that, make sure that we have more staff at City Hall that can make sure to get things through the process so that your schools can continue to provide that excellent environment, that safe environment for the children that you serve. So again, Phil Becerra, Ward 4, thank you again.
Good evening y buenas noches a todos, colegas, estudiantes, maestros. Good evening to all the teachers, the colleagues, and all the VIPs, Mr. Valdez here. Welcome. My name is Nelida Mendoza, and I am a candidate for re-election of Ward 2, which is over in the better part of Santa Ana. Actually, all of Santa Ana is beautiful, and combined with the team up here, we're going to make Santa Ana even better. The reason that I'm running for re-election is that during COVID, it was really tough to make some decisions to really make a difference with our city, because we were concentrating on keeping you safe, vaccines, COVID protection. And so now that we're out of COVID for the most part, I think that I will be able to bring better services to our residents. And the main reason that running, that I ever even got into public service is that, you know, I joined the military because there was 2 reasons. One was to honor my country, the country that opened up its arms for us immigrants, to give us a better opportunities for better life, and that was through education. But there's 10 of us in my family, so there was no way that my parents could pay for college for any of us. And so the military was another way, and I did save my money, and I did use that money that I saved to go to Santa Ana College when I received my honorable discharge from the Army, the U.S. Army. And also because the Army really instilled a sense of civic pride and duty and sense of responsibility to do something for my community. And so ever since I was a young girl of, I don't know, 5 or 6, I have always had that servitude attitude. And I continue to bring that with me, and it's always been with me. And that's my purpose in life. I follow the motto in the military was be all that you can be. And that includes being all that I can be to serve you, the public. So if re-elected, and I can assure you that I will be re-elected, is that I will ensure that all students have the continued opportunity to go to the school of their choice. It doesn't matter what kind of school that they go to, whether it's public or charter or whatever else is available, as long as they have that opportunity. We immigrated here to the United States to get a better education so that we can have that high quality, better quality of life. And they're gonna get it if we provide to them the sense of commitment to the schools. So the charter schools have that for the students, then I'm all for the students having that opportunity and to give them opportunity for higher education. And one of those ways I can tell you that it works is because my children are products of the higher education and the success that a degree will bring. And the academics is not just one way of success. There's many ways, but this is the sure way. So I encourage all the parents and to give your children the support that they need through whether it's a charter school or public school. And I know that you've had difficulties with your permits or upgrading your buildings, and that's not acceptable. We need to provide the facilities that are comfortable, environmentally safe, and advanced technologically so that the students have all the resources that they can to make a successful, to get a successful life, just as what I did as an immigrant is use the academic system to be successful. And I know that everyone here in the beautiful city of Santa Ana can get the same results through your academic system. And here's my colleague, David Peñalosa.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Good morning. Good afternoon, everybody. Not good morning. I am David Peñalosa, council member representing Ward 6. Got elected. We got Ward 6 residents here. Got elected in 2018 and lifelong resident of the city, born and raised in the Memorial Park neighborhood with my mom and 2 older brothers. The reason why I ran for city council in 2018 was there was a lot of stuff that I started paying attention to, graduating college, and now observing what was going on around me in my own neighborhood was problematic. I saw the lack of investment in our parks, in our streets. God forbid we had an emergency, how long it took a police officer to arrive. And add that to working at a local manufacturing company, small business in Santa Ana, and being the go-to guy between my work and City Hall, I also saw how absolutely horrid it was to do business with the city at a small business level. So a lot of red tape and a lot of, I guess, lacking attention in the streamlining of things and efficiency. I am proud to be the first millennial elected to the Santa Ana City Council, and I took that and I wear that proudly. I went into Santa Ana City Hall and saw the many different areas at City Hall that were lacking investment in just streamlining and getting rid of that red tape. Our city has a great app, a mobile app where we submit a million things, for service, whether it's a pothole, a broken tree branch, a fallen power line, illegally parked car. And before, when I first got on, somebody would make a submission and they would send an email to the city manager's assistant. And she would have to then forward that email to the various department of who could potentially take care of that. That was just one of the ways where there was unnecessary red tape. Why can't I submit graffiti and have it go directly to the graffiti contractor? Why can't I submit a pothole and have it go directly to the public works contractor that's going to fill that pothole? So there was a lot of areas where we were missing and lacking in efficiency. So I took that as the first millennial and invested in those areas where we could make these areas more efficient so that, if we're going to be the highest tax city in the county, unfortunately, we should show for it. We should look like we're the highest tax city in the county. That's not a good thing. It's a bad thing, but we should look like it. And we should also have services that meet that standard, and we didn't. So I made the decision to run. I knew there was an election happening back in 2018, and I saw who was running. It was the same people. It was the mayor's compadre, the current mayor's cousin, the outgoing council member's best friend. So I was like, this is ridiculous. This is why Santa Ana's a mess, because we don't have fresh blood. We don't have people in there that really want to change our community and care about it. So I've been there now 4 years. It's been a very interesting experience. A lot of stuff getting done. We've accomplished a lot, of streamlined a lot of the operations at City Hall. And that's one way where we're going to help areas like, not just charter schools, but all levels of education. That was one thing that it took me a while to understand of how important it was to have options. As I'm not a parent yet, but hopefully, God willing, one day I will be. I would love to have that option. If I want to homeschool my kid, if I want to send them to a charter school, private school, or traditional public school, I should have that option. And that's what's so important. And that's why I'm here, because, I think back of, and Colin knows the history of myself and Vista Charter. All I was thinking of is just, oh my God, the traffic on Fairview is terrible, and the parking that's going to come with that, the parking problem. So what did we do now? We're widening Fairview, not because of Vista Charter, but those are things that you do. You invest in your community and the surroundings to better, make these things, more accessible to everybody. So that's one thing that I've been doing, is just kind of streamlining, getting rid of the red tape at City Hall. I'm happy to do it. And the important thing here is that we're open-minded. And one way that I've governed over the last 4 years is having an open door policy with anybody. I was now, a couple council members have now followed suit, but I was the first and only council member, I'm told, that had his personal cell phone number on their business cards. And when I first got on, city staff was like, are you sure? People don't usually do that. They add an office number and we take calls and take messages. And I was like, no, I'm going to be a public servant. I want people to reach out to me directly. So anyone has my number, or reach out, and open door policy. Again, David Peñalosa, representing Ward 6, happy to be running again.
We could use this mic.
Again, those are our city council candidates. Now we're going to go ahead. Now we're going to move on to our mayoral candidates, starting with Jesse Nestor.
Alrighty, I'm Jesse Nestor. Thank you for having me here. I'm running for mayor. I currently live in the Madison Park area. I grew up I was actually born in the Memorial Park area. My family always moved around Santa Ana, and we've always lived here. I've attended schools in Tucson, Santa Ana, Los Angeles, and I've seen the contrast between all of them. And I'm currently running on the problems in Santa Ana, such as rising costs, the education here, the homeless crisis, and reforming, again, education. And in terms of my experience, I've known what it's like working 2 jobs to support the family, especially during the lockdowns when everybody was supposed to be inside. And, we weren't allowed to produce anything, and we just lost our savings. We lost everything. Our kids were not in school. They weren't around their friends, socializing, and that put them behind a lot, especially in the public sector. But, win or lose, I will work with any other candidate. I don't know how to run your life. The city council proved that they couldn't run your life. And, I will work with anybody, again, as long as they give me the green light to, whether they want to physically or not, tar and feather them, if they go back on their word. But in terms of answering your second question, what would I do to ensure charter schools in Santa Ana continue to have the opportunity to serve students here and the facilities, or make vital improvements? I propose a city lottery revenue system, kind of like the state has for education, instead of the property tax, so that we don't punish kids based on their incomes and where they live for what schools they go to and what funding they have. I think students should have equal funding and equal opportunity, especially when they're going to public schools. Again, it's an issue because parents have to lie about their incomes or where they're from in order to go to a better school, in order to keep their kids in public schools rather than private schools, because it's not in their budget. Again, I want to allow lower income and higher income parents to send their parents here, but not worry about filling classrooms. And in terms of your third question, if elected mayor, how will I support families in the city to have continued access to school choice options? Again, I believe in a parents in class initiative, which is where essentially you put cameras in the boards to see what the teachers are teaching. It doesn't have to be on the teacher. If the teacher wants to be on camera, that's on them. But it'll give access to parents to know what their kids are learning in class so that the parents themselves can learn if they forget a topic or if they don't know such, so that they can help their kids with homework and any other issues that arise. It helps monitor teachers in class, what they're saying, what they're doing, and monitor students. And it's a way for teachers to monitor parents and students. Again, I want schools to focus on around 1 to 3 electives or studies that they best excel at. Because I don't believe every school excels at every topic. Again, some schools can be good at engineering, art, and dance, but other schools aren't. And I want to provide funding to those schools where they best have the best resources, where they have the best teachers for that topic. And so that parents can, again, under a school choice initiative, allow their kids to get to that topic, especially be better prepared for college and university, so that they're not behind or they know what to do. And, we can also have access to schools who don't have special electives, but are more exploratory, so that kids can know what they're into, or they're not planning on going to college or a career afterwards, but going back into the private sector. I want to give parents power instead of administrators, because right now the administrators have a lot of power in terms of salary and what our kids are teaching, but the parents not so much. The parents have to deal with what the teachers teach them, or every year new curriculums, and they're not given a say. They're not given permission to what goes on in the classroom, time schedule changes, what topics they're learning. And I think parents should have choice in that too, what their kids are being taught and how to better manage time. And I want to stop forcing teachers to teach topics they don't want to teach or they don't know how to teach. We need to have more specialized teachers. Again, there's another issue again in the college system where teachers have to learn topics, GE requirements as they call them, that have nothing to do with the topic they're teaching, such as math, and they're learning theater because it's an elective. I don't think that's right. If anything, I don't think they should be learning that. That shouldn't be part of the requirements. That forces them to spend more time and stress more and to pay more, and that puts them in more student loan debt. So I want to give power to the teachers. I want to give power to the parents. I want to give parents to the students. And I don't want bureaucrats or cronies to take over the powers of parents or teachers or students anymore. So thank you.
If you don't mind, I'm going to stand because I have a slight tremor on my left. And so it's hard for me to hold the mic. If you don't mind, I'm going to go here. Thank you. Good evening. First and foremost, congratulations on having this forum. I'm excited to be here tonight to be with you. My name is Sal Tinajero, and I am an educator of 27 years. And Mr. Peñalosa, I used to look like that. I was young one time too. I was skinnier and I had more hair. So, when he came onto the council, I said, he's the better looking person on the council now. So, hey, So anyhow, so let me tell you a little bit about myself. My parents immigrated from Michoacan. I lived in a garage for a good portion of my youth. Then my parents got out of the fields and got union jobs, and that helped us then afford to live in the house. And then eventually my father was able to buy a little house right across the street, because immigrants don't move very far. We stay kind of where we landed. So I was the first in my family to go to college. I have served on the school board for Santa Ana Unified for 6 years. I was on the city council for 12. And now I serve as a college board trustee. As an educator, I was the 2006 National Teacher of the Year. I was flown to the White House and given the award by former First Lady Laura Bush. It was a highlight in my life. At the same time, in 2018, I was the California Educator of the Year. And I'm proud to say that this December, the California School Board Association has just given us and my program the Golden Bell for Excellence in Education. So this is what I do. I empower students and I break them out of poverty through speech and debate, which is what I empower students with. So I wanted to give you that because it's not just about running for office. I do believe we need a mayor that is going to really take the reins and bring us back to where we need to be.
parent choice, #1 priority in Santa Ana. Parents must have the opportunity to choose the education that their kids are going to have. And if your public schools aren't doing it for you, you have an option with our charters, and vice versa. But we cannot continue to strangle the lifeline of our charter schools. So let me give you an example. I built a national program in 6 years. Santa Ana Unified has had a national champion 6 years straight. In high school, Santa Ana High School won the national championship in speech and debate. They're making a movie out of those girls. They were the first all-female team to ever win it. You would think, this is great, celebrate it, keep it going. Bureaucracy is going to kill that program. But we need other schools to be there to catch those students who are going to lose that program. And I've always been here, I've always been an advocate for parents' rights because I believe that parents should have the choice. So what am I going to do? First, we are going to change the CUP system because right now the CUP system is being created so that you can't expand. We're going to fix that. We're going to break it apart and we're going to fix that because our kids, these are our kids that deserve to have good facilities. And you have the money to put those facilities together. Let's do it. Why are we going to house our students in facilities that are not to the level where they should be when you have the opportunity to do it? I will be there and I will be your champion for that. Second, and this is very important, one of the ways that people stop, the government stops charter schools from expanding is they say you don't have enough parking. Well, here comes SB 6. SB 6 allows us to build on commercial property. So if it's zoned for commercial, here's what I propose. Hey, Vista Charter School, if they say, hey, you need more parking, well, you know what? We have commercial zones where we can build a structure. During the daytime, students and faculty can park there. And what happens is in the evenings, when everyone leaves, we use it for parking for neighborhoods with a permit to go into those structures. That's going to alleviate the overcrowding in our streets. I have the most experience when it comes to Santa Ana. I served on the school board, city council, and now on the College Board of Trustees. I work well with people and I know how to get things done. If you talk to the different municipalities, they'll all tell you, we love working with Sal. And I am proud to say that I am supported by the Democratic Party of Orange County. I'm the only candidate supported for mayor for that. More importantly, I was very touched that the Orange County Register also endorsed our campaign. And what they said was, Sal has been a voice of reason for many, many years. So I am here and I thank you for letting me be here and I thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak to you. Thank you.
Good evening, buenas noches. I want to start off by saying I'm the only candidate for mayor being officially supported by the California Charter School Association. I worked closely with charter schools at the local level and the statewide level. I've also been really pleased over the years visit the Nova schools and kids. Really proud to have been on this campus when you dedicated the Ben Carson Reading Room and was very honored to be at the ribbon cutting for the new scholarship prep school, nearby. So I'm honored to be here. I was born in Michoacan, came as an infant with my parents, raised in the Central Valley. My parents were farm workers. I worked in the farms myself. I learned hard work. I also learned how to appreciate education. I went to UC Irvine for undergraduate school. So I've been here on and off since those years. I had an opportunity to go to Harvard, have a master's in public policy from there, served on the city council a number of years, before and after my state assembly work. I was in the state assembly 6 years, including I was on the education committee and did a lot of work with the charter school movement up there, as well as EdVoice in terms of education reform. My kids, they're out of the school system now. One graduated from Stanford, another is a junior at Princeton. So I don't have kids in the school system right now, but I care for all our kids. And I've started to see crime go up since I last left the city council. I've started to see the homelessness, problem, continued language, and our kids deserve better. I still believe in a brighter future for Santa Ana, and so that's why I'm running again. In terms of, the questions about facilities, first and foremost, I want to see charter schools and private schools be treated the same as public schools. That's number one. Number two, there are some things that the city does for its traditional public schools that we don't really for all the others that I want to change. Things like the services and grants that we bring. We have now a new bookmobile, a more modern version, and Councilmember Peñalosa was also a big leader behind that. We got to bring more city resources to our charter schools and private schools as well. That also means joint use opportunities. If you were a traditional school, as some of the others, the city afternoons and the weekends, we provide staffing and financial support to provide programming for your students and community programs. Why can't we do that at your schools? We should and we can. In terms of looking towards the future, in terms of other opportunities, we in the city need to make education a priority again. If you look at our public schools right now, and if you go to, for example, a website called Ballot Media, you'll see that over about the past 10 years, school enrollment has decreased tremendously. School achievement levels have decreased tremendously. And it's sad and unfortunate. I'm a strong believer in education. I believe that's the biggest equalizer that we have in society. I'm here and successful because of my education. My kids, are successful because of their education, and all our children in Santa Ana deserve the best traditional public schools, but also charter schools and private schools. And I'm really proud to see that over the years, our charter schools and private schools continue to grow in enrollment, in size and achievements. And I'm glad that you're giving our traditional schools a challenge because they need to step it up. I'm also here to say that unlike other supporters for public schools, including Mayoral Candidates, I have no conflicts in terms of taking a position against our school board or superintendent. So I will be okay going to the Board of Education and advocating on behalf of charter schools, on behalf of our parents. I'm willing to go to a school board meeting at San Unified there on Chestnut and say, I disagree and for these reasons. We right now don't have that. And I can change that. It's time that all our kids have equal access to public schools and strong public schools, and charter schools are right now today the heart and soul of that movement. Thank you very much.
Well, first of all, let's have one more round of applause for our candidates. Thank you so much for coming in tonight. It was a pleasure to hear about not only your backgrounds, but why you do what you do to serve this amazing community of Santa Ana. We're looking forward to the upcoming election. We know that there's a lot that all of our families have to consider, but we thank all of you also for coming tonight. Again, as a reminder, we do have food in the back. We didn't open this up for a question and answer component for families. Instead, what we're going to do is end our live stream, but give the candidates an opportunity, if they choose, to mingle with the audience, and you have that opportunity to have that one-to-one discussion and connection with our audience members. So again, thank you so much for coming. It was a pleasure on behalf of Ednovate and Vista Charter Schools. Thank you all for coming as well. Have a good night.